This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Tuesday, the 22nd day of April in the year 2025. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting. Now here's what we're tracking tonight. The U.S. Department of State has once again flagged Guyana's law enforcement agencies for corruption and bribery, which it says continue to hinder the country's fight against drug trafficking. In its annual International Drug Control Strategy report, the U.S. State Department noted that while the government of Guyana does not encourage or facilitate the production or distribution of narcotics or the laundering of proceeds from illegal drug transactions as a matter of policies, its efforts to clamp down on the drug problems are hampered by law enforcement officials and political entities. The report said corruption within law enforcement, bribery and nepotism in the public sector and political entities further complicate the fight against drug trafficking, adding that the authorities often drop charges or never file those charges and do not conduct serious investigations. The report said traffickers are able to evade prosecution. Additionally, the U.S. State Department said that the economic appeal of the drug trade in Guyana, with its high poverty rate and low-paying public sector jobs, leads individuals to become involved in illegal activities and hinders efforts to curb trafficking. The U.S. State Department recalled that in two separate incidents in July of last year, 4 GDF soldiers were charged with trafficking a total of 213 kilograms of marijuana. According to the report, in 2024, Guyana seized more than 4 metric tons of cocaine in cooperation with U.S. law enforcement at an airstrip near its border with Venezuela, the largest drug seizure in Guyana's history, and also interdicted one semi-submersible vessel off Guyana's coast with 2.3 metric tons of cocaine. It noted that despite growing oil wealth and the government's increased efforts, the public sector, including law enforcement and customs officials, remains underpaid. The report noted that coupled with a lack of adequate resources and shortcomings in the legal system, this allows traffickers to exploit government systems and move illegal drugs through Guyana. Guyana joined the regional security system in order to enhance its counter-narcotics capacity and deepen its integration into regional security, the report noted. The U.S. State Department said efforts have been made through regional and international partnerships to stem the drug problem, but it has continued over time. The report concluded that Guyana's illegal drug trade contributes significantly to increased crime and corruption. The State Department is urging the Guyana government to step up its fight against drug trafficking by enhancing law enforcement and customs capabilities through port security improvements, intelligence operations with regional and international partners, implementing stronger anti-corruption measures, and strengthening its legislation relating to drug trafficking sentencing to make it less attractive. In March, Guyana and the U.S. signed a Memorandum of Understanding which seeks to deepen security cooperation between the two countries and collectively address challenges confronting the Latin America and the Caribbean region. Under the MOU, the two countries will continue to counter narcotics trafficking and transnational organized crime, and it also lays the foundation for Guyana and the U.S. to strengthen information sharing, increase synthetic drug detection, and ramp up transnational organized crime investigations and prosecution, as well as military-to-military cooperation. More news coming up in just a moment.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look. You know the one, or one touch, even one word. I can start with one step, or one promise, one thrill, one first time, one deep breath, one leap of faith, one day to remember, or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life. Just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
Linden! It's big people time again. Go Mosley Entertainment presents the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. Big Oman Gasha Things. On Wednesday the 30th of April at the Mackenzie Bandstand with one-man bands Super Ray, Errol, and Murphy, plus a one-woman band Queen Diva and DJs Killer Miller, Water Dog, and Bad Boys. The next day is a holiday, so party the night away all night on the 30th of April at the Mackenzie Bandstand. Get your early tickets from Shemaine's Bar in the Mackenzie Market, Professor Cuts and Retrieve, Barnes Taxi, and Dominique's Top-Up Shop on Republic Avenue. The Linden Town Week Big People Party 2025. Big one Gusha Things. Compliments of One Communications, Banks Beer, Guinness, XM Rums, 592 Teas, Fireside Grill, and Sheriff Security. Please drink responsibly.
She said, take it easy, I will do the good.
Right there, right there,
You
right
don't
there,
have
right
to.
there, right there.
Your own home is so much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank. We're the one for you.
Keeping up with the kids' growth spurts might mean it's time for a bigger fridge. Don't worry, at Quartz, we've got you. Save up to $50,000 on select fridges. Get a free grill or mixer with select stoves and more. Need to upgrade your home? Get smart TVs from as low as $32,999. Plus, shop today and pay later. And make your first payment in 30 days with Quartz Ready Finance. Whatever you need, we've got you. Only at Quartz, bringing value home. Offer ends April 23, 2025.
Mobil 1 is more than oil. It's many oils. It transforms at the molecular level. When cold, it's thicker than honey. When hot, it's thinner than water. Mobil 1 adapts and readapts to last longer. 16,000 kilometers between oil changes. That's your engine evolved.
Sol Guyana is the authorized distributor of Mobil lubricants.
Looking for a new ride? Then check out the all-new Honda HR-V at Marex. When you buy a new vehicle, it's 0 miles, 0 worries. Plus, you get awesome features that will make your ride smooth and comfortable. The HR-V interior design has controls at your fingertip with great space and maneuverability. The all-new Honda HR-V is a beauty. Drive one today. Visit our website or call us on 226-1482 to learn more. Buy your brand new Honda vehicle from Marex, the home of Honda in Guyana.
Let's tell you now that the Guyana Police Force's Office of Professional Responsibility and the Regional Security System have completed their probe of the police shooting death of 21-year-old Ronaldo Peters. The file will be submitted to the Director of Public Prosecutions by Wednesday for official advice on the charges to be filed in the court. Peters was shot dead by a police sergeant 2 Mondays ago at Half Mile Wisma in Linden. He was shot to the abdomen, according to a post-mortem examination. A CCTV recording of the incident showed the police sergeant dragging the injured youth and dumping him into the back of an unmarked minibus after the shooting. The police sergeant was at the time dressed in plain clothes. It was also reported that after he drove off with the injured man, he drove around Wisma before eventually going to the police station in the area, where the injured man was then placed in a police vehicle and eventually taken to the Mackenzie Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. His death led to protests in the town the following day. And it was during those protests that the other man, 32-year-old Keon Fudgenay, was shot to the head as the police tried to disperse a crowd of protesters. The investigation into Fajaney's death is ongoing, as additional eyewitnesses are still in the process of providing their statements to the investigators. Both men were later arrested on Sunday. The Guyana Police Force has indicated that a full report of the regional security system will be released this Friday. Well, while noting Guyana's efforts to counter money laundering, the U.S. Department of State has said the issue remains a major problem in the country. In its annual International Drug Control Strategy report, the U.S. State Department noted that money laundering continues to pose significant challenges to Guyana and is affecting the nation's economy and governance. The department described the Guyana Police Force as the weak link in Guyana's anti-money laundering enforcement program. It noted that most SOCO investigators are former patrol officers who receive very little training specific to financial crimes. The report said for those reasons, the vast majority of money laundering cases go unprosecuted. To strengthen its anti-money laundering regime, Guyana should fully implement existing laws, including pursuing the asset forfeiture in full compliance with the law and stricter oversight and transparency in high-risk sectors like gold export and public procurement, the report said. The report also said investing in training for local law enforcement and financial regulators would also build the anti-money laundering capacity of the authorities. The U.S. State Department noted that money laundering in Guyana has grown into a systemic issue involving both public officials and private citizens and is often linked to corruption and organized crime. It said Guyana's vulnerabilities stem from the relatively small financial sector and limited regulatory resources that make it challenging to enforce stringent anti-money laundering measures effectively. Adding that Guyana's most recent anti-money laundering combating the financing of terrorism national risk assessment was finalized in July of 2021, and Guyanese officials rated Guyana's money laundering risk as medium high. According to the U.S., the local gold mining sector continues to be a contributor to money laundering, explaining that gold smuggling in Guyana often facilitates money laundering, as persons would use illegal gold sales to disguise illegal funds and bypass regulators. The report said in the mining sector, money laundering methods include large cash deposits using forged agreements of sale for non-existent precious minerals, as well as cross-border transport of concealed precious metals to avoid payment of the relevant taxes and duties. The report also noted SOCO's investigations and charges of money laundering against former Assistant Commissioner of Police Calvin Brutus. In 2024, billionaire father and son Nazar and Azruddin Mohammed, along with Permanent Secretary May Thomas, were sanctioned by the U.S. government. The Mohammeds were sanctioned over claims of money laundering, gold on the declaration, and tax evasion, while Thomas was sanctioned over her alleged facilitation of the Mohammeds and their alleged wrongdoings and alleged acceptance of bribes. The Guyana government recently indicated that it was in receipt of information from the U.S. government and has passed that information on to the police and the Guyana Revenue Authority for their own investigations. The government has revoked and refused to renew a number of business licenses for the Mohammeds and their many businesses, while the permanent secretary remains on the Guyana government's payroll as she is on administrative leave. Tonight, the International Monetary Fund is projecting that global oil prices will decline by 15.5% this year. In its latest World Economic Outlook report, which was published today, the IMF said that the prices of fuel commodities are projected to decrease in 2025 by 7.9%, with a 15.5% decline in the oil prices. The IMF's chief economist explained at a press conference that the drop in oil prices is largely because of weaker global demands. The official said the IMF has seen oil prices declining since the last projections, and the decline in oil prices, in its interpretation, is coming mostly from weaker global demands. So it is the weakening of global activity that is driving the decline in prices. There has been some increase in supply coming from the OPEC Plus countries, but broadly speaking, the official said, the decline is mostly coming from weaker demand.
So we have seen oil prices declining since our last projections, and The decline in oil prices in our interpretation is coming mostly from weaker global demand. So it's the weakening of global activity that is driving the decline in prices. There's been some increase in supply coming from OPEC plus countries, but broadly speaking, the decline is mostly coming from weaker demand.
The oil official warned that the decline could result in lower export revenues for oil-producing nations than earlier anticipated. The commodity exporters are going to face lower export revenues from the decline in oil prices. That's going to weigh on their fiscal outlook on their growth, the official said. The steep decline in oil prices could have implications for oil-producing nations such as Guyana. The drop in global demand is happening at a time when Guyana is ramping up oil and gas production. While the IMF is predicting a dip in the oil prices, it also projects that there will be a 22.8% decrease in natural gas prices. Non-fuel commodity prices are also projected to increase by 4.4% this year, while food and beverage prices have been revised upward compared with those in the January 2025 World Economic Outlook update. The IMF in its report also said following an unprecedented series of shocks, global growth was stable in 2024 and was predicted to remain so this year. However, the landscape has changed significantly as governments around the world reorder policy priorities. The IMF explained that since the release of the World Economic Outlook in January, a series of new tariff measures have been introduced by the US and countermeasures by its trading partners, bringing effective tariff rates to levels not seen in a century. The official said this on its own is a major negative shock to growth. The unpredictability with which these measures have been unfolding also has a negative impact on economic activity and the outlook, and at the same time makes it more difficult than usual to make assumptions that would constitute a basis for an internally consistent and timely set of projections. Under the reference forecast that incorporates information as of the 4th of April, global growth is projected to drop to 2.8% in 2025 and 3% next year.
GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by June 30, 2025 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. Where to apply for registration? You are required to visit the GCOM registration office that is responsible for the registration of persons in your area of residence to apply for registration. Office hours, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 12 and 13 to 16 hours 30. Friday, 8 to 12 hours and 13 to 15 hours 30. The offices will be closed on weekends and holidays. You need to apply for a transfer if you now live at another address since you were registered. This registration exercise will end on May 30, 2025. For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-0277-9 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Your own home is so much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank. We're the one for you.
Need small appliance for your kitchen? Giftland have it. Need fridge or stove? Giftland have it. Speakers or laptop? Giftland have it. I'm telling you, Giftland have everything. And don't get me started on TVs. 58-inch, 65-inch, 70-inch, 75-inch. All sizes in leading brands. Best thing about it, they give me warranty. Man, Giftland is the place for all your electronics purchases.
Washi. Hi people, washing made so easy since I found Washi.
Washing me use, wash me clothes and I can say. Wash your soap powder, wash clothes so nice. Wash your soap powder, leave your clothes color bright. Wash your soap powder, leave me clothes smelling nice, of course. So give thanks for wash your soap powder, for doing my laundering right. Keep my clothes color bright, have me clothes smelling nice for sure. I could not ask for more. Comes in lemon and original. It is a washing machine in a pack. Wash your soap powder, wash clothes so nice. Wash your soap powder, leave your clothes color bright. Wash your soap powder, have my clothes smelling nice, of course.
Distributors located in the Stabrook Market.
Buster presenting the new 500 milliliter. Wow, Buster flavorful. Make every meal better. Grab a Buster for drink, Buster move. Taste this. 500 ml, that's it. Buster for this, that's cool. Buster 500 milliliter is a brand new choice of me drink with my food. Vibing every munch, that's smooth. Introducing the new Buster 500 milliliter. Grab a bottle with your lunch today.
Linden, it's big people time again. Go Mosley Entertainment presents the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. Big Oman Gasha Things. On Wednesday the 30th of April at the Mackenzie Bandstand with one-man bands Super Ray, Errol, and Murphy, plus a one-woman band Queen Diva and DJs Killer Miller, Water Dog, and Bad Boys. The next day is a holiday, so party the night away all night on the 30th of April at the Mackenzie Bandstand. Get your early tickets from Shemaine's Bar in the Mackenzie Market, Professor Cuts and Retrieve, Barnes Taxi, and Dominique's Top-Up Shop on Republic Avenue. The Linden Town Week Big People Party 2025. Big Oman Gasha Things. Compliments of One Communications, Banks Beer, Guinness, XM Rums, 592 Teas, Fireside Grill, and Sheriff Security. Please drink responsibly.
She said, take it easy, I will do it.
The rights of Indigenous women in Guyana are a priority for the government of Guyana, according to Minister of Amerindian Affairs Pauline Sukai. She made the comments while she addressed the 24th session of the Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues yesterday at the UN headquarters in New York. Addressing the UN Forum on Interregional, Intergenerational and Global Dialogue on the Rights of Indigenous Women, Minister Sukai said she is pleased to be part of a government that advances women's rights in the country, with Indigenous women's rights being a priority. The Amerindian Affairs Minister said Indigenous women are increasingly involved in politics, both nationally and locally, and it is evident across the country.
30 years ago, when I entered Parliament, there were few Indigenous women parliamentarians. Today, 39% of women in Parliament are Indigenous. 3 Indigenous women have led the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs in my country.
Minister Sukai also said in Guyana the government continues to ensure the improvements of the socio-economic conditions of Indigenous women, providing the necessary funding for them to develop their businesses and thrive.
Funding of entrepreneurial opportunities in agriculture, ecotourism, and traditional economic activities is provided through the national budget. The Youth Entrepreneurial and Apprenticeship Program provides training and business opportunities for Indigenous youths. 63% of the participants are Indigenous women.
Additionally, she said the government has advanced equitable access to healthcare and education nationwide. New and upgraded healthcare infrastructure and telemedicine services are expanding across Amerindian villages, she said, while adding that these improvements prioritize Indigenous women's healthcare, including financial aid for universal healthcare and cancer screening.
Special emphasis is placed on expanding access to education in Indigenous communities through teachers training, construction of new schools, and expanding investment in ICT connectivity. Reaffirming our country's realization of empowerment of Indigenous women through education, they can now access tuition-free university and technical education, as well as fully funded international scholarships.
The Amerindian Affairs Minister said while access to clean and safe water supply by Indigenous populations continues to be a challenge globally, 91% of the Indigenous villages in Guyana have access to potable water. She predicts that by the end of this year, 100% of the villages will have access to potable water. Minister Sukai also said too that combating sexual and gender-based violence remains a priority for Guyana, pointing to the recently passed Family Violence Act, which strengthens the legal framework on domestic violence, enhances protections for victims and survivors, and ensures offenders are held accountable. Minister Sukai said the protection of Indigenous women's rights and their economic and social development are only possible through political will, matched with the requisite resources. The current administration, she said, has reaffirmed its commitment to proactively promote and support Indigenous women's rights and development. The UN Forum is being held from the 21st of April until the 2nd of May, under the theme implementing the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples within United Nations member states and the United Nations system, including identifying good practices and addressing challenges. President Irfan Ali has announced a number of initiatives for Yupukari and the satellite villages in Region 9, saying that the government is already budgeting to undertake a number of health, education, infrastructure programs in the communities, as well as provide transportation for citizens to get around. At a public meeting at Yupukari over the weekend, the president said within the past 4 years, the government has made infrastructural investments totaling more than $450 million in several Region 9 communities and promised continued investments for the villages.
I want you to be assured, for example, in Yupukari, connecting the satellite villages, you want minibuses, you want further help in transportation. Am I not right? Yes. The Ministry of Amerindian Affairs already took note of that, and we are already procuring 2 buses to support the satellite communities.
In addition, President Ali noted that households will benefit from the water tanks program to aid in rainwater harvesting and water storage. He pointed out that trestles would soon be constructed at the Fly Hill Primary School and its health center to access easy access to water. Further, the president said the roads and bridges between Kataka Village, Fly Hill, and Yupukari will be upgraded. However, he said the people of Region 9 must stay the course with the PPP, his party, if they want continued development in their region.
And the PPP Civic has been and continue to be your friend and your brother throughout every season. In the difficult times, in the good times, in the hard times, in the easy times. Because our philosophy is grounded in service.
The president also told the gathering that health and education access is now more easier in the Region 9 area, noting that the number of trained teachers and healthcare professionals in the region has risen sharply. 45 bridges along the Linden to Lethem Trail totaling $7.7 billion were commissioned by Prime Minister Mark Phillips this past weekend. The newly constructed bridges are expected to improve connectivity between the coastland and the hinterland, with Linden Region 10 serving as a key transit point. The Prime Minister said it is the government's intention to bridge the gap between the coastland and the hinterland.
Ours is a government that is big, that is serious about development. And not just only about development, about bridging that development divide that existed before we assume office between the coastland and the hinterland. We've made it clear that everything that is happening development-wise on the coastland must also happen in the hinterland. The 45 bridges that were constructed as part of this project is a testimony to that commitment to the people of Region 9 and of Region 8.
The bridges were constructed as part of the Kurupukari to Lethem and Mabura Hill to Kurupukari projects. He told the residents of Regions 8 and 9 that they were witnessing the first phase of what he called a massive development project that will see the government improving connectivity among the regions. Prime Minister Phillips also hinted at the construction of a bridge across the Essequibo River at Kurupukari. Meanwhile, Minister of Public Works Juan Edgil said access to the hinterland has improved in recent times.
Once upon a time,
we would have had to get special equipment, pulling people up, pulling people down, getting cartwright done on bridges for people to cross. But the government of Guyana, as part of its infrastructural development program, that while we seek to complete the entire Linden to Lethem Road into asphaltic concrete, while we were waiting to move it lot by lot, we went ahead with the construction of the bridges. Currently, 121 kilometers of road is being constructed from Linden to Mabura Hill. We are currently engaging and in discussions with another team to continue from Mabura Hill to Kurupakari.
Among the communities that benefited from the construction of concrete bridges are Iwakrama, Yakarinta, Surama, Masara Junction, Kamudi, Ganup Landing, and Naipirara, Point Ranch, and Hunt Oil. Additionally, 13 bridges were built from Linden to the Mabura Road corridor.
A powerful movement is coming to shift Guyana, the Guyana we know as the breadbasket of the Caribbean. It's the land of many waters. It's the land of 6 races, all unified under God. Hope is rising, a call to prayer, a celebration of unity and peace and God's grace on all Guyana. Hope is Rising is returning after many years and will feature global sensation Sherwin Gardner and Emran Henry, along with top Guyanese gospel artists and musicians.
These things they are making me stronger. I come to you with my arms wide open. If my pillow could speak, it would tell you how I will.
You're invited to Hope is Rising, a global 24-hour prayer culminating with an evening of worship and praise, with Christian leaders standing together on May 9th at the National Cultural Center. All tickets are free and registration is required. Seats are limited, so book now. Christian leaders, gospel artists, churches, and people of Guyana from all regions. We urge you to come together to celebrate and pray to God for this great nation. Hope is rising, and God is pleased.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look, you know the one, or one touch, even one word. It can start with one step, or one promise, one thrill, one first time, one deep breath, one leap of faith, one day to remember, or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life, just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
Guyana's economy is rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. Guyoil is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of Guyoil's profit goes back to building schools, roads, and other important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial, and aerial transportation. Guyoil has now repositioned itself as market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future for all of us.
Linden. It's big people time again. Go Mosley Entertainment presents the official Linden Town Week Big People Party. Big Oman Gasha Things. On Wednesday the 30th of April at the Mackenzie Bandstand with one-man bands Super Ray, Errol, and Murphy, plus the one-woman band Queen Diva and DJs Killer Miller, Water Dog, and Bad Boys. The next day is a holiday, so party the night away all night on the 30th of April at the Mackenzie Bandstand. Get your early tickets from Shemaine's Bar in the Mackenzie Market, Professor Cuts and Retrieve, Barnes Taxi, and Dominique's Top-Up Shop on Republic Avenue. The Linden Town Week Big People Party 2025. Big One Gasha Things. Compliments of One Communications, Banks Beer, Guinness, XM Rums, 592 Teas, Fireside Grill, and Sheriff Security. Please drink responsibly.
She said, take it easy, I will do
With your regional and international news tonight, I am Svetlana Marshall in the region. Economist Dr. Vanus James says the promises being made on the election campaign trail are superficial and disconnected from the economic reality facing Trinidad and Tobago. According to Trinidad and Tobago Guardian, he is worried that citizens will buy into those promises despite candidates' failure to identify where the money will come from. The kinds of promises being made are not connected to the specific policies that would drive the economy forward. They're mostly superficial, he said. James took aim at recent proposals to raise wages and pensions, including Watson Chook's pledge to increase pay for CEPEP and URP workers to a minimum of $5,000 and to boost old age pension to $4,500. Turning to the opposition's promises, including a proposed increase in the minimum wage from $20 to $25 and a 10% salary increase for unions, James said these could only be viable if they're backed by productivity. James said even if a government wanted to implement those increases, they would need to borrow, and that, he warned, would be dangerous. He called the current economic situation a crisis and warned that the wrong policy decisions could tip the country into something worse. The United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, says it has administratively arrested an alleged member of Cuba's Ministry of the Interior who has been residing illegally in the country. According to CMC, ICE said it collaborated with the Federal Bureau of Investigations, FBI, and the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Agency in detaining Daniel Garcia, 57, who was taken into custody at his residence in southern Florida following an investigation conducted by ICE Homeland Security Investigations. The investigation countered on fraudulent claims he allegedly made when entering the country. During the investigation, law enforcement agents obtained official Cuban government documents and credible source information indicating that Garcia had failed to disclose his affiliations. He allegedly omitted being a member of the Cuban Communist Party and an agent of Cuba's Ministry of the Interior in his immigration applications, I said, adding that Garcia allegedly served as the president of the National Defense Council and was a member of the Rapid Response Brigades. And finally tonight, international news. Pope Francis's funeral will be held on Saturday in St. Peter's Square. Roman Catholic cardinals decided on Tuesday, setting the stage for a solemn ceremony that will draw leaders from around the world, according to Reuters. Francis, 88, died on Monday after suffering a stroke and cardiac arrest, ending an often turbulent reign in which he repeatedly clashed with traditionalists and championed the poor and marginalized. The pontiff spent 5 weeks in hospital earlier this year, suffering from double pneumonia, and had appeared to be slowly recovering. But the Vatican on Tuesday recounted his last moments, saying death came quickly and he had not suffered. He started to feel unwell at around 5:30 a.m. on Monday and was promptly attended to by his team. More than an hour later, he made a gesture of farewell to his ever-present nurse and slipped into a coma, the Vatican's official media channel said. His time of death was given as 7:35 a.m. The Vatican released photographs of Francis dressed in his vestments and holding a rosary, lying in an open coffin placed in the chapel of Santa Marta residence where he lived. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I am Svetlana Marshall, wishing you a pleasant evening.